Hey Pro-Life Jen, I'm Kristen Hawkins. Welcome to How to Win This Week on the Explicitly Pro-Life podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. I want to talk to you about something that's happening right here in Washington, D.C. right now that you might have heard about or maybe you didn't hear about because, let's face it, every single day the Democrats on Capitol Hill are doing something atrocious that has to be reported. It sort of starts to blend together. So there's this bill called the Women's Health Protection Act. We call it Students for Life, the Women's Health Endangerment Act. I highly encourage you to adopt that language because that's what this bill is. In short, it would codify Roe versus Wade. So this is what's happening. Nancy Pelosi, the abortion lobby, is terrified that the Dobbs v. Jackson case, which is being heard on December 1st, the decision coming down at the end of June, could possibly reverse Roe or very much restrict Roe, hand the ability to states to go back and heavily restrict legal abortion, access to legal abortion in their states. The abortion lobby is upset. It was a nice way of saying it, about the Texas heartbeat law going into effect, the fact that it's saving 130 to 140 babies every single day. They're astounded. They're saying that it's shutting down 80% of all their abortions in their state. For an industry who says that abortion's only 3% of what they do, I wouldn't think it would be that such a big deal to them, but apparently it's a really big deal. Maybe it's not 3% of what they do, hint, hint. So the abortion lobby's freaking out. So the Democrats in Congress have said, hey, we have the majority. Let's pass this super bill that's going to codify Roe versus Wade into law. Meaning, if this bill passes the House and the Senate and is signed into law by our pro-choice Catholic president, who one time used to say that he was pro-life, but obviously never was, if it's signed into law, it will nullify every single state restriction that's ever been passed and enacted to limit abortion. Any common sense restriction on abortion, things like, a woman has to have an ultrasound before her abortion to confirm that she's actually pregnant, to confirm the location of her pregnancy, where her child is actually at. It would nullify that. Informed consent, telling women what happens during an abortion procedure, telling women the very real risks to their health, their mental health, their psychological health after having abortion, telling women the alternatives that exist to the violence of abortion. Those laws that have been passed in dozens and dozens of states, nullified. Laws that restrict abortion after a certain time period, say abortions that say abortion laws that say it's no longer legal in our state to commit abortion when a child can feel excruciating pain, which science proves, and both pro-choice and pro-life physicians and scientists have already proven and written about in medical journals. Yeah, it would get rid of those laws. So any state law, the abortion industry knows, and they've been writing about this for years now, how they've been losing when it comes to state legislation. Shock, shock, those who are closest to the people, the legislators that are closest to the people, so state legislators don't want to pass abortion extremist legislation because they know citizens don't want them. And so they've been losing, they've been kind of complaining about how, this past year, for example, this legislative season, 2021, the most ever abortion restrictions were introduced in state houses and passed. Guttmacher, Planned Parenthood's former research arm, named after the second president of Planned Parenthood, Alan Guttmacher, who was also the president of the American Eugenicists Association. They did a big analysis about, these scary pro-life laws, common sense laws that the vast majority of Americans support being enacted. So Nancy Pelosi has gotten together with Planned Parenthood and the abortion lobby, and they said, we're just going to take care of it. We're going to pass this law. So it passed out of the House. That's not a surprise to us, unfortunately. Only one Democrat, Harry Cuellar of Texas, actually voted against the Women's Health Endangerment Act. And you all should throw Representative Cuellar some thanks for actually being a pro-life Democrat. There is now one, and that is he. It is now, if you remember, Government 101 has to head to the Senate. So the Senate has to pass it. It has 48 senators in the U.S. Senate have co-sponsors legislation. So it's really going to come down to one guy, and his name is Senator Joe Manchin from my home state of West Virginia. Senator Joe Manchin has always maintained that he's a pro-life Democrat. Sometimes he votes pro-life when his party lets him. Other times, not so much when it comes to Obamacare, which was the largest expansion of abortion ever. He voted against us. He voted against confirming Amy Coney Barrett to Supreme Court. So he's not a reliable pro-life voter, but he has, already said that he's against codifying Roe v. Wade into law because he comes from West Virginia. West Virginia passed an amendment just like, I think, 2 years ago that says when Roe is reversed, abortion should be illegal in the state of West Virginia. So this is important stuff. We need you right now, and I'm going to get a little bossy here, and I've been trying to be not too bossy on these How to Win this week, but I think I need to get a little more bossy. So I'm going to get a little bossy. I need you to go to abortionhurtswomen.org. That's going to take you to an action website Students for Life has set up where you can immediately email and call your U.S. senators. What I love about our action system is it takes 2 seconds to email both of your U.S. senators. And then if you go, after you send the email, it'll let you call them. And you put in your number and it calls your phone and does all the work for you. And it just connects you and you just have to read the script. Literally, we've tried to make it as easy as possible. I realize we all hate talking on the phone, but this is what you've got to do. You've got to email, you've got to call, promote that link, abortionhurtswomen.org, all around the internet, because we need to get this out to the pro-life movement that they need to be calling the U.S. Senate, especially if you know anybody who lives in West Virginia beyond me. Don't tell me, I already know. But anybody you know who lives in West Virginia, now it is a different state than Virginia, by the way. It is the best Virginia. So Virginia doesn't count. It still is good. You can call your senators. You want to create a buzz, but especially West Virginia. This is really, really important that we make sure that Joe Manchin and the Democrats in the U.S. Senate do not pass the Women's Health Endangerment Act. And we have to make it too politically toxic for them to pass it. It should be easy because this is abortion extremism gone wild. And this is something that literally no poll ever has shown America wants. There is no poll out there that shows the majority of Americans want abortion all 9 months, taxpayer funded, no restrictions, that a woman can simply choose to have abortion because she doesn't like the sex of her baby. There is no poll out there. So nobody wants this except the abortion industry. This is just a massive federal power grab that literally will risk millions of women's lives, not to mention all the millions of children. So make sure you call your senators. You have to. If you don't want to use our site, go to senate.gov. Easiest way, though, is just go to abortionhurtswomen.org. Take action, spread the word, tell the U.S. Senate, vote no on the Women's Health Endangerment Act. We do not want this. Nobody wants this. And don't cave in to the pressures of the abortion lobby. So there you go.